Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and I just wanted to jump in here and give you an update for the month and let you know what you can expect here on Every Version Ever, which unfortunately won't be much. If I get time to edit it, there will be at least one new episode of the show this month. Following our episodes on Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland, I recorded an awesome episode with Jenna West, Eli Sansa, and Mark Brown talking about Walt Disney's Alice comedies. We talked for almost 3 hours about the history of that series, and then picked out a bunch of episodes to focus on, including the original short, Alice's Wonderland. That short started out as a very loose adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, and that's pretty much the only reason to fit it into this podcast. The ties to Lewis Carroll's novel are tenuous at best, but I figured any discussion about Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland needed to also include his original idea for what an adaptation could be, and Jenna was more than happy to fill us in. Now, depending on how long it takes me to put that episode together, that might end up being 2 episodes because 3 hours is a lot, both for editing and listening, so we'll see what happens. And at the moment, like I said, that is all I have for this month. I have 2 other Alice movies to cover before we finish with Alice in Wonderland for the year, but I have yet to record those, so I kind of don't think they're going to be ready before November. And I don't want to give away the topics, but they are 2 more episodes from the Walt Disney Company, so I'm sure that a few of you will be able to put 2 and 2 together and figure out what we're talking about. So I'm sure some of you may be wondering why there has been such a reduced output lately, which, if you don't follow me on social media, is a fair question. If you don't check my socials, you'll have missed the announcement, because I haven't said anything on either of my podcasts yet, until right now. But I have been working very hard on a brand new podcast. Not just like a new episode of the podcast, a full-on, completely separate show. Over on iHeartMovies, I've been doing a series called the Disney Movie Marathon for years now. It actually predates my podcast by well over a year. It was originally just a series of YouTube videos. On the Disney Movie Marathon, I've been covering the official Disney canon in release order, as well as a few surrounding spin-off materials, like what I'm currently working on with the Walt Disney version of Alice in Wonderland, which you just heard in the last 2 episodes and will hear more of soon. I've thought for a good long time now that the Disney Movie Marathon would make for a great podcast all on its own, but I had yet to actually make the leap and go for it until now. The Disney Movie Marathon is now its own podcast with its own podcast feed and its own YouTube channel. If you like what I've been doing on Every Version Ever and you want more of that, but focus just on Disney stuff, then this is the podcast for you. Obviously, there will be some crossover, like, spoiler alert, after I finish Alice in Wonderland, the next story we're covering here is Pinocchio, and the episodes I made for the Disney Movie Marathon will also become episodes of Every Version Ever, as well as vice versa, because, like the Alice in Wonderland series here, will become episodes of the Disney Movie Marathon when I get there in the canon. I'm going in release order over there, so they won't get these Alice in Wonderland episodes for several months yet. In addition to the re-releasing of past canon reviews I've already done, I'm also working on a bunch of brand new episodes just for the new Disney Movie Marathon podcast. Eli Sansa and Mark Brown joined me for episodes on the Golden Age films, as well as a bunch of early Disney shorts, starting with Mickey's debut in Steamboat Willie and Plane Crazy. And then I'm also doing several episodes on some more recent live-action films, including the new Pinocchio film, which you can listen to now if you don't want to wait until it comes here probably next month, as well as an episode on the 2018 film, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. That also might eventually be an episode here if I ever decide to do Every Version Ever of The Nutcracker, but don't get your hopes up for that anytime soon. That's definitely a fun episode, though. Much more fun than the movie itself. Katie Fabric and Nikki from Trivial Theater joined me for that discussion, and we had a blast, so I definitely recommend checking that episode out, even if you're not interested in the other Disney episodes. Then later this month, I will be doing 2 brand new episodes specifically for the season. I have never seen the movie Hocus Pocus, so with the new sequel coming out, I figured now would be the perfect time to fill that gap, and Nikki and Katie are joining me for those episodes as well. So even though this month is going to be sparse for new content for me on Every Version Ever, there is plenty to listen to over on the Disney Movie Marathon. If you're a Disney fan, I highly recommend checking it out. We have a ton of awesome content in the works over there. But if you're only here for literature-based podcasts, fear not, there will be plenty more coming in November and December. Like I said, 2 more episodes on Alice in Wonderland are in the works, and then we're going to jump right into Pinocchio. There are a not insignificant number of Pinocchio-based films scheduled for release this year, and I'm planning on covering every one of them, if they all come out. I have my doubts about one of them, but there are at least 3 definitely coming out for sure, and then we're covering at least 2 others from the past, maybe more. We'll see what we have time for. Ask me again in a couple months. Anyway, that's all the news I have for now. I'm sure that some of you will be disappointed by the lack of episodes here this month, but hopefully the new batch of episodes on the new podcast will make up for it. And if not, just sit tight. More episodes of Every Version Ever are coming soon, so we will see you then. Thanks for listening.